Now let us continue our discussion of operator overloading, and we are going to see copy constructor also today. Friend access. What is friend access? We have been doing a lot of work with this class int array and continuing with this int array only. Suppose that we want to implement an operator that multiplies all entry of the array with a similar integer. That means you have an array, and what you want to do is all the elements of array you want with a to multiply with a single element or multiplier. For that, what you can do class int array, and then inside this you can write a function. And this function, what you are trying to do, you are operator overloading star, that is multiplication, and you are just making a new array and multiplying it with a multiplier and keeping it in the new array. So it's quite simple because we have discussed it earlier, but it's okay. A into 5 you can do is simply you can take an array and multiply by 7. That will be fine. And also a shorthand of operation also you can perform. A dot operator, this multiplication 7, and this function will be called, and an operator will be overloaded. But what happens that somebody may come to you and he says, okay, very good, a good task you have done. I want 7 into a, and he says that 7 into a means 7 multiplied by array and array multiplied by 7, both are same. So you have given me a multiplication of array with 7. Now you also give me a multiplication of 7 into array, and then what you are going to do? So to do this shorthand for this, we would have to make our operator a member function of integer, which right now it's not allowed. Okay, we cannot do this. So in this scenario, we'll have to revert to the earlier method we saw of defining the operator not as a member function of int array, just like this. Okay, but how this, if we do like this int array, then okay, some implementation you can do, you can outside a class you can do, but we have another problem. You are trying to access the private fields. Now you cannot do that. Methods only inside a class can do that, and just ignore the fact that we would instead use our assignment operator and the access to individual elements using this square bracket. Will not be talking about that, but we are just trying to I'm trying to tell you something out of it. We could just make all the variables public. That is going to defeat the idea. So we would really like to do something so that our variable are still private, but we'll make an exception just for this one specific function operator star. But C++ has actually a mechanism for solving our problem, which I just discussed, that you can declare a function, a friend of a class. You have a class, you declare a function, which is a function called operator star, that is operator overloaded star, and do the same stuff as we did earlier. You can write this line easily for implementation, and you can use this. So if we put this line in the definition of the class int array, we can then write the exact code as the above outside the class like this, and it does get access to private variable. And multiplying an array is nice, but sometimes you may not need it. But there are various frequent usage of and functions for implementing this insertion operator, extraction operator. Okay, this is for outputting the streams. So how do you do that? You have a class, inside it you make a friend, and then output stream is the return type operator, and then you want to overload this, just write without output stream and then an integer or int array, some a. You can define it like this, that whenever you do this, it is going to print this stuff. Okay, it is going to print this O by just printing the output streams. Again, we want to access private field of A. We want to access A. So we declared this A as, or say you want to use A. So you did what? You made this function a friend of this class. Now you can do all this stuff. And most important is you can have multiple, you can say extraction operator to actually solve your problem. But to complete our discussion, because this is not the discussion of operator overloading either, but friend classes are those classes, if you want, that all the functions of a class would use any data variable of another class that is private, then you can do just like this. This particular function, like class A, you have a class, inside this you have public friend class X, whatever is there. So all the ingredient of X will be able to access all the ingredient of A. This is what it's all about friend classes. So complex numbers, let us take an illustration. You know that if we want to implement a class for complex numbers, just recall complex number of type A plus IB, where A and B are real numbers, I is nothing but I square is equal to -1. So you want to add a complex number, you can just add this. So what you are doing is you are adding this real number, and then with I you have addition of the imaginary number. So we can use these definition. It's very basic. Complex class, if you want to implement it, it's quite easy. How? You can have a complex class with some real and imaginary values. Then what you're doing is complex, this real, this you are assigning it, this is a constructor. Then you have some copying thing, you want to copy, let's add a copy constructor, you are adding a copy constructor, and we'll see about this next section, don't worry about that. And in this add, what you're doing, you are trying to add, and this is to print the string. Actually, it's your whatever result is there, you want to print. So we could add these two complex numbers and print the sum using this code. How? Complex, this you can just start defining it. Two C1 and C2. C1 will have real this, imaginary this, real imaginary, and just complex sum C1 dot add C2. C1 dot add C2. This function is going to be called, and you will just print it by two strings. Very nice, very good. It's looking good, but it's got some tediousness. Why? You want to call add and two strings, and this makes understanding the code somewhat difficult. And to work this out, we can use the idea of operator overloading we just saw. So instead of, or in addition to having this function add, we could overload plus, right? Just by doing this. We can also add the third line of the code about using this shortcut, simple, sum is equal to C1 plus C2, just by doing this. So this is exactly equal to the previous segment, but somewhat easier to interpret. We can also overload few commonly used operator like minus and is equal to and not equal to and less than. So what you can do on less than equal to, greater than equal to. So what these definition, if they are in place, we could now do arithmetic comparisons on our nice complex class. We will not be using this print, we'll overload this. Suppose that we didn't already have this two string, that is also possible. Then to stream out the complex number, we would code like a simple function, outstream, this is output, operator, and this operation, this is out, and you have a complex number, this is going to output in a simple manner. Since we are trying to access the private member variable, we need to make this operator a friend function of this class complex. You already know that by now. So by putting the line this friend into the definition of class complex, which is what we are talking about, this complex, and we can now write code including this extraction operator in one statement. Just you can have C1 with C2, two complex variables. They are initialized, and you can just C1 plus C2. Just like two variables are added, you can add two objects. This is the beauty of what we call as operator overloading. Now, one more topic, one important topic is copy constructor. And we have talked about this constructor just now, but it is worth mentioning explicitly now that just like any other functions, constructors can also be overloaded. We have been overloading various variables and various other stuff, but what I intend to tell you that constructors can also be overloaded. That is, a single class can have many different constructors so long as their signatures are different. But one type of constructor that is almost always very useful is a copy constructor, which what it does, which gets another object of similar type and copies its content in some way. What I am trying to tell you is, if a class is there, this is one object, this is another object, and if you want to copy all the stuff which you have either initialized or entered or whatever you have done, you want to copy. Why to make this again and again? You want to copy all those stuff which you have in this object to another object. This is possible by copy constructor. So what the signature will be, you can have a class and this will be the signature. Const a and ampersand, this is one, and other a. So when with a copy constructor we can copy object like a star a1, that is you are making a1, and what you are doing is star a2, some node to put stuff in a1, you want a1, and then what you are doing is new a2. So a2 now copies a2 now has the content of a1 just by doing this. So now the question arises, should I copy, or should this copy all of it or some of it? So it depends actually on the context. One approach is to copy exactly the data field of your object, just to copy all the data objects, their data values, and this is called as shallow copy. This is shallow copy. This is often asked question. So you must understand what is shallow copy, copying the data fields, and is what C++ produces as a default copy constructor if you don't write one. The shallow copying is, if you write default copy constructor, it is going to copy in a shallow manner. So sometimes that's not you are expecting. Sometimes, for example, in our example above of an integer array, int array which we have been using, you would copy the size and data variable. Okay, that is how shallow copy does it work. But since data is a pointer, you will now have two objects whose data pointer point to the similar memory. Okay, data pointer is a pointer. Now this is object, this is a1. So this is a1, sorry, and this is a2. You had copied a1 all stuff to a2. So you have copied data also, but data was actually pointer. So the pointer was pointing to 1, and now it has started pointing to the same memory is having the pointer to two values. So same, so a1 and a2 pointing to same memory value. So if you make an edit in one, it will edit the other. Perhaps that's what you want, or perhaps not. Why? If it's not that you want, then what you want is likely to copy all the contents of the array to a new location as well. This is what you want. But in this case, you'll be making what is called a deep copy. You have to write a copy constructor to do it correctly. Deep copy. One was shallow copy. This is deep copy. This can involve a bit of work. For example, a linked list is there. You would be copying a copy of each element of the list and linking them all up correctly. So you go along. So it's a expensive task. But pretty often that exactly what you want from a copy, and so try to make sure exactly what you want to copy and why, otherwise it is going to give you a surprising result. What I mean by surprising result, let us take an example. Suppose that for our int array, which was the class we have been making, we make a shallow copy and we can have some implementation like this. This is a class, and this int array, you have a something like this. You are copying the size in the data. This is again a destructor. So you know how to do this. And in main, what you are doing is you are making A2, and you are just copying. You are making A1 and copying A1 to A2, and this is going to work fine. But this is going to give you an array for viewing purpose. It's going to see for any user or programmer, it will be fine. But for when you are going to run it, it will give you a fault. Why? What happens is that A2 is a shallow copy of A1, but when the program terminates, the destructor of both objects are called. Destructor you have defined, so they'll be called for both the objects to give them a chance to clean up all what has been going on. So let's assume that A1 gets destroyed first, then the data gets deleted, and it is still deallocated, but the pointer A2 data still points to the location, and when A2 gets destroyed, it tries to delete memory that was already been deallocated by A1. Okay, so some errors can show up in unexpected parts of your program caused by this wrong type of copy constructor. So why are copy constructors so important? To come back to this question, let's return to our earlier discussion, that is pass by value and pass by reference. We recall that here we have been doing much of our passing of parameters by reference and then declaring them constant to avoid them getting altered. So far we have been a bit vague about this passing around big objects. It's not clear what happens when you pass a complicated object into a function or as a parameter by value. Actually, it is clear what happens. How? C++ generate code that initialize your local variable using a copy constructor. So you can have a code like this, and you call f of b. Whenever you call, what will happen is that my object gets initialized via a copy constructor of b. By b, my object will be initialized. So if your objects have a good copy constructor that does exactly what you want, passing complex object by value is perfectly fine, and your code should do exactly what is expected. But in specific, when you write template classes, please, I am talking about template classes. How you can be sure that every class that gets plugged in will have a correct copy constructor? If it doesn't, wrong behavior will be there. So that's why in specific with template classes, you try to always pass by reference. Exactly similar thing happen when you try your function to return by value or return by reference. When you return by value, the variable that you assign to gets initialized by a copy constructor from the local variable or whatever expression you return. Again, it's better to return by value only things for which you are sure the correct copy constructor has been implemented. When it is not been explicitly defined, C++ will generate a default copy constructor which performs a shallow copy. So in specific, if you are dynamically allocating anything inside your object, try to see that you do that deep copy. So thank you so much. Hope you got the idea about this copy constructor and deep copy, shallow copy. Thank you.